Yeah, g'day guys. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Jim, and today we're on part 3 of the golf buggy. Just click on the link up here, it'll go to the playlist of the first 2, and you'll be able to see all the progress. It's been quite good so far. So I've got a list of things I want to try and get through today, a big bunch of stuff. Really I just want to get it running, that'd be nice. But if we can get it driving and so forth, that'd be awesome. Got the wheels to change, fix the mudguards, ignition, exhaust, intake. There's a heap of little things to do. Also got the seats back from the upholsterer, and we'll be able to put those on, and then we can look at all the last little few things we've got to do. So we'll get right into that, and here we go. Okay guys, we've got a bit of a mod. This is the old air cleaner base. That one on there, and that one on there, and this big huge ugly looking thing went on there. But too much height, we needed it down to about here. So get rid of all that. I thought about trying to make an elbow on here because we're sort of really restricted with room. So that's not going to work. So what I've done, this is the gasket that come off of, when I get it right, there's the gasket that fit straight onto this box. So I've replicated and made this little steel plate with the right holes in it. And then I've gone to some more trouble. There's little vents because they come out of the carburetor. I'm not sure if you can see it there real well. I've ground into, whoops, get away from the band-aid. I've ground into those little spots there. So when it's like that, it's gonna flow better. Like the air is gonna come in from this way, and then it'll go into the carburetor, and there must be little jets or something for there. So I thought I'd try and replicate that. So I've got that, and then like this is just a piece of furniture tube off some bed or something or other. It's relatively thin wall, doesn't have to be heavy. So I was planning just to weld that on there. So it's a very similar size, if not actually it's a tad bigger. Now the next problem is, here's the air filter that I'm planning to use. So I've got a piece of stainless steel, I think it's 50mm. Fits in there beautifully. And that's going to be a replaceable part. So the only thing is, how do I get it from there? Like that's a, big. There's many sayings for it, I won't say it. But anyway, so there's a huge gap to try and fill. So if you have a look in there, the difference, like you could use a big washer, like weld the washer onto there, and then put that on and weld the washer onto there. But then the airflow is not going to be very good. So I thought, let's try and make something that has a bit of a taper, a bit of a cone-ish sort of a shape. So I've made this. This is just another piece of furniture tube. It's just a piece of pipe, a thin wall pipe. It's nothing exciting. And that is going to, once I weld the outside, going to be virtually perfect. Don't know if you can see it in there real well. And because it's flanged on the outside, that's going to fit in there. So I was planning on putting it up sort of at this height, weld that, and then grind it so I know it's nice and neat. So you won't even see this piece, it'll be on the inside because it'll be in there. So from the outside it'll look like that, but you know that on the inside it's going to be really neat and tidy, and the flow will be so much better. So how did I make that? That's a bit of a trick. Today's trick. Just let me take it over to the vise and I'll show you. Here we go. So here's my crazy rough method. This is a trailer coupling, like upside down. Think of it as upside down. And inside there, it's sort of like where the ball's supposed to go. You know, like a trailer ball. This is only a 50mm. It's what we use here in Australia, up to 3.5 ton. So it's a 50mm tow ball. So all I did was put this little piece of tube down in there, because I had to do two actions. I had to curve the inside, or one end. I had to curve in one side and then curve out the other side. So I just popped that in there. Got the old tow ball. This is not one that's any good. And I just bashed and bashed and bashed until I got something that was really similar, or close to where I wanted it to be. And then I just got it a bit of a massage with a hammer and a bit of a tap around to try and get that flange relatively straight. And then I just used the old little burr on the drill trick. I do have a die grinder, but I'm sick of the compressor running all the time, so I just use the drill. It's easier. So that's what makes that a really neat and tidy fit once it's all welded. And then the flow, the airflow will be really, really good. So there won't be any restrictions, because I know you can buy aftermarket ones. They're pretty fancy and they're anodized, and that's all good, but it won't work in this application because I need a really sharp elbow. So if I just weld those two together like that, I will have solved my little problem with the air gap. So I thought that would make it flow really, really well, and I get the pod filter on there and I get the elbow. So I've just got to make sure the amps are really low on the welder when I give it to it, and make them all look really nice and tidy. And if they don't quite look tidy, well then that's what the die grinder does. It'll clean it up a bit. So that's today's little hack for anyone who doesn't have expensive tools, just like me. Just use an old tow ball coupling and a tow ball to flare it out or flare it in. Like you can use anvils and things like that. I don't have an anvil. Just have an array of hammers and ingenuity. So anyway, I'll get into some welding and I'll get that exhaust done. Here we go. So this is where we're up to at the minute. Let me turn the light on. There we go. As you saw, it's all bolted down. I've got the ignition switch in place. I've just got to run some wires or extend this group of wires all the way across to the starter and so forth. The exhaust, I'm not sure if anyone noticed, when I was putting the muffler, I mounted it down here to the chassis, and I had to rethink about that because this whole back end that the motor sits on and the axle, it goes up and down. So I thought, well, the muffler is going to need to connect to that, so I kind of did that off camera. Put a little bracket down there onto the side. So it's all done, and you saw me put all the air cleaner and the bracketry on there, and I'll put this little tab which keeps the choke lever in place. It doesn't come off now. I've got a little air cleaner to fit on. Actually it's a fuel filter I'm going to put on there. That's the breather for the case, the tappet cover case. It went into the original air box, not on the suction side but on the air cleaner side, but so I've got a separate little air cleaner to pop into there. You can get them that look very similar to the pod filters, but I haven't got one available, so I'm just going to use a little fuel filter. It's a brand new one, it's not being used, so it won't really matter. It is a filter, so as long as there's no dust get into that tappet cover, that's the important part. May have seen me put this linkage on, all the throttle linkage. That's all in place. Works quite well. Well, as far as I know, it works well with the pedal. But you convinced me. I'm going to put the battery on that side, so I've got to cut those two cross members out. They do look quite rough. It's going to be better for the buggy anyway, so I've got some replacements for those. I've just cut out of a few pieces of angle iron and a battery bracket. I've made that up. Here it is over here. So here's my little brackets that are going into place of those rusted out pieces, and here's the battery bracket. I just made that up just before. I couldn't find one readily available to me, which means I didn't have one here in the shop, so I made one. That's kind of what you do. So that's all pre-made, and it's kind of like the muffler. I didn't have one that sort of suited, so you just make one. It's just what you do. These little bolts here sitting on the side, if you're kind of curious on what they're for, I'm going to put a heat shield. Those bolts come out. I'm going to put, it's sort of like a half shield over the top of that exhaust. I'll shorten these bolts down a little bit, and then I'll screw them straight in. They don't go into the muffler itself, they're just welded on the outside. So I'll just screw those in, and it'll protect, because the plastic cover comes across the top here and then goes down, and it's within about an inch of that, and then has this little flat spot back here. So, but the last sort of main thing I wanted to do, other than wiring up the ignition, I've got the wires for it, just got to solder it and do that battery bracket. And then I'm going to put the fuel tank here, because I can't find a better alternative. So it's going to sit across this side, not sitting on top of that air filter, and there's a little plastic flap here. You lift the flap and you can reach this little lever, which you can open the engine compartment. But I'm planning to put a little bracket here and have it sit here above the cover of the plastics. Once all that's done, and on the fuel hose that goes through there, I might even put a fuel tap on this side of it, so it's easy to turn off if need be, if you know someone goes away, or myself, or it just gets parked up for a while. I can easily turn the fuel off and then actually just run the carburetor dry, so then I know it'll be fine. Also got to do the brakes, so I've got a few things to go yet.
I'm only checking the brakes, and I've got another set of wheels which I'll show you in a few minutes to go on there. Oh, and I've got to get these guards up into place and riveted, or tech screw them back in. So let's get into it, eh? It'd be really nice to see this thing running today. Here we go. I've done a couple more things. I've got that air cleaner on, which looks like a fuel filter. Funny that, because it is. It's a little, just a plain old, boring old petrol fuel filter. It is a filter, so it's going to act as a breather for that case tapper cover breather. So as long as it doesn't build pressure up, that's all that matters. So that's done. Another little funny hack. You probably saw me install a battery in the bracket just then. Now this battery doesn't have proper post terminals, but it looks like it there. Let's just get around the other side. And if you have a closer look, look at that. How's that for a hack? Dodgy, but it's a hack, and it's the only battery I got. So we're running with that. It's still quite safe, and the terminal is still on there pretty secure, and it's not going to arc or anything. That one's just got a bolt on it, so it's just a hose clamp around the post and a little bolt in the side there, and it works because it's the only battery I got. So other than going and spending $80 to $100 to buy another one, that's what we got for the moment. So don't kill me in the comments from it. I know you will anyway, so it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, I wouldn't put this in my car like that with just those dodgy hose clamps, but it's the only battery I had, and I've had this one in a ride-on mower for about 6 months, so we had no arcing problems, and it was quite safe. So do what you got to do, and I just sort of MacGyvered it, and we're away. So this is what I'll use for the moment, and if this battery dies, I'll buy the proper one with a little bolt-on post. But anyway, now I'm about to put some oil in it, and then I'm going to take the wheels off and fix those mud guards, check the brakes, and then show you the other wheels I got, the other options, something a bit different. So anyway, here we go. Well, that's interesting. No brake drum. Pulled the wheel off, first time I've actually taken the wheel off. And no brake drum. Good news is the pads are in good nick. They're not too bad. I was wondering why there was no drag noise on that one. The other side there is, there was a bit of noise. But here's the drum off the other side. It all seems okay. No real lip as such. Not that I'm going to machine them or anything. I'll just give them a bit of a clean up. As long as the shoes were in good nick and the shoes still moved. But I've got another old rear end off a Golf Buggy, and here's I just pulled the drum off of it so I can put it on this one and get it running. She's a bit rough, but it was in a fire apparently, so why I kind of got it at special price. So I'll just hit that with the wire wheel and make sure it's all the same. It does look like it's identical. It feels that, and it doesn't really have a lip either. So to get these drums off, it's got these two little screws here. If anyone ever needs to get them off, you just a couple of 8mm bolts by 30mm long, or 20mm long would probably do it. You just screw them in, and you just keep screwing them, and it pushes against the axle, so, and it just comes off. So just a couple little taps and away you go. So I will clean that drum up and see if I can get it all back together. Glad I actually took the wheel off. Kind of wouldn't have stopped going down the hill. Crisis averted. So anyway, back into it. Here we go. So the drums are all on, brakes are all adjusted up. Nice and easy. It's got just a slight little drag on there, but as soon as I push the pedal down on its first click, they're locked up. Same with the other side. Very tight. So with golf buggies, as soon as you touch the accelerator, it releases the handbrake. Something really, I guess it's just the way golf buggies are. And then we got plenty of movement. So wheels. Now these are the wheels that were on it. One had heaps of tread and the other one had hardly any. But the other option I got is these ones. Comment down below if you think there's going to be enough tread on it. They're on a set of golf buggy wheels, rims, and they're ATV tyres, nice and chunky. Yeah, plenty of depth of tread. It's just a set I've had laying around here for a while, so kind of expecting them to not lose any traction on the grass. So I think they'll fit perfectly. There's a fair bit of room in that guard, so, and even on the inside I've put the tech screws in there to hold the inner guard on. That'll keep the muck away from the engine and all the transaxle and everything. So I'll pop those wheels on and put some oil in it, and I think it's only a fuel tank and we're away. So I'll stick the wheels on and we'll go. Here we go. I think we're at the point to give this beast a run. Got the heat shield on. That should work really well. Got the tank and the bracket, so you can see that it unbolts there. So when I put the rear skin on, you know, the rear cover and everything, the tank will be on the outside, and I'll just put a little hole there for the fuel line. I've got a little tap on it, so I just have to feed it through when I drill a little hole, and the carbine and everything will get fed and be able to turn off without having to reach in there. I'll put the battery terminal on. So I don't think there's anything left. So this is the moment we've all been waiting for, especially me. Everything's all done. All I gotta do is turn the key. I've got a couple of cameras just in case I stuff up. There's one over there, one just here. Okay, let's give it a shot, eh? Yep, we got oil. Yep, we got everything else. The big moment. Big drum roll. Here we go. Okay. That's not a good sign. Maybe a bit of choke. I haven't got the choke cable hooked up, so let's give it a bit of choke. Oh, how about I turn the fuel on? Duh. There we go, fuel's on. Maybe try it without the choke. It'd be nice if we didn't have to worry about a choke at all. Okay, here goes. It runs! Woo! Away! Oh, sounds like there's a bit of power. Oh yeah. Let's try putting it in gear. Oh, the other wheel's going. This brake must be a bit tighter than the other one. Let's go the other way. Woohoo! We're going. Oh, that's awesome. You probably didn't hear anything I just said. Oh, this is really good. I am so happy that it's all finished. Well, the engine's in anyway. And it's runs the way it's supposed to. Oh, runs really well. So I'm ecstatic. I can't wait to get it on the ground and get it rolling. But I think that's going to have to be another video. But we finally got it all running. So we're away. It's going to be a couple of weeks until the next video. This is the third one. We finally got it running. But the next one will be, I'll put all the seats on, put all the covers on, we'll have it on the ground. I'll hook up the choke and the few other things that it requires. But it's all a runner, and maybe let mother drive it. I've put all the links down in the description of all the parts that I've used, including the engine, the drive belt, which has only just turned up now. I'll see how the old one goes. At the worst, I burn it out. You'll be able to check those parts out and buy them and be able to do it all yourself. It's not that hard, really. Just got to give it a go. If you click on the subscribe button, you'll be able to see the last video of this series. It's one where I'll be putting the seat on and giving it a final tidy up. I've got a roof to put on over the top of this, and I'll do a bit of footage of driving it around and things like that. So be a nice little one to finish off the series. So we'll catch you up on the next one, eh?